Hi everyone. So this lesson we're going to talk about close reading and what close reading is and what it looks like and why it would be important to use in the reading process before you have students start writing their essays. So on the surface, what is close reading? Why should we use it? Well, the goal of close reading is to get readers to focus intently on a text by gathering as much meaning as possible from a thorough and structured examination. Pretty much close reading in layman's terms is just repeated readings. So by having students read a text over and over again, it gets them to focus intently on it. It helps them gather more information than they would have gathered if they just read it one time through. It fosters student independence because, again, they're taking the initiative to read it multiple times, and it provides less front loading for the teacher. So as a teacher, you don't have to worry about spending tons of time giving background knowledge and helping them to make connections when they should be able to do it on their own. Also, it redefines what makes a good reader. So with close reading, the goal of it is not just to answer questions, answer multiple choice questions. It allows students to analyze and ask questions about what they're reading. So close reading aligns itself perfectly with the Common Core, which is what we're supposed to be teaching. So the Common Core really emphasizes students to dig deeper when it comes to their learning. So close reading allows students to identify a text's key ideas and details. It's going to help them look at the craft and structure. So how is it organized? Integration of knowledge and ideas. So what concept is being taught here? And it also works for a range of reading levels and the level of text complexity. Close reading also focuses students on using an evidence-based response. So they shouldn't just be able to give you a summary of what they read. They should be able to back up any response they give you with evidence from the text. So when you go to select a text to do a close read, you want to remember to use either a shorter text or a longer text that's been broken up into shorter excerpts. There's a difference between text complexity and text difficulty. A text can be at a student's instructional level, meaning it's perfect for their grade if you are supporting them. But if it's 20 pages long and the font is really tiny, there's no way, even with the most scaffolding in the world, that they are going to be able to read it and understand it. So you want to make sure that the text is at their level and it's something that they're not going to get super stressed reading or it's going to take away from the actual meaning of the text. You want to look for something high interest, something to keep them talking. This could be informational text, it could be literature text. Try and look for something like a newspaper article or an online journal, something that's a little bit different that again is going to keep their interest. And variety is key, so don't always give a textbook article. Try and mix it up a little bit. And then grade level is appropriate or higher if it's properly supported. So again, think about that key vocabulary, think about the overall message, think about reader burnout, especially with some of these lower kids. You want to make sure it's something that's going to grab their attention since they are going to be reading it multiple times. So the types of questions that you're going to ask students have to do with literary analysis. So are they able to dig deeper and interpret the text? Ask them about word choice and tone. What's the overall feeling? How did the author structure it? What was their purpose? Is it compare and contrast? Is it sequence? How does it connect to other texts that they've already read this year? A strong close reading question requires an evidence-based response. And I've said this before. If they can't respond with evidence after reading text 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, then they didn't do a very good job reading it. Through repeated practice, the students should actually begin to predict the questions that are going to be asked, and they become independent closed readers. So once you do this process a couple times, they'll know that the first time through is just simply to gain understanding. What's the story about? Whereas the second and third time through, you're digging for more information. You're looking for that deeper understanding of what the article is actually about. So here's the basic protocol. You want to, before they even start reading, have the students preview the text. So flip through it, number the paragraphs, look at the pictures, and this is very similar to annotating, the pre-annotating strategy. You definitely want to have them preview the reading before they actually start reading it. The first read-through is for basic understanding, and in my classroom, I often read text to my students the first time through. That way they're just getting a chance to hear it. They get sort of an overview of the plot, they get an overview of the concept that's being taught that day. The second time through, and even the third time through, is where they start to really read for analysis using structured questions. So you might pull out key vocabulary. You might ask them questions if the text is short. You might portion the text. So chunk it, read a paragraph at a time and ask a question if it's too long. So that second, third time through, you really start digging for understanding. And you want to develop a routine, even if it's just parts of talking to the text. So just highlighting your evidence when you go back to answer the questions, or just underlining phrases, or just circling vocabulary. And in my classroom, we don't read anything less than 3 times. So that first read through is that basic understanding. And then the second time through, I might have them go back and talk to the text. I might have them go back and answer questions. So it all depends how you want to set it up or how much time you have for, but you definitely want to read through it at least 2 times. And then at the end, you want to make sure that they can summarize what they've read and that whatever learning goal you're working towards has been met. Now, this is a close reading plan. If you've never done close reading before, this is a good place to start, and I did include it in the Moodle. You'll notice that it has a spot for a first read-through, a second read-through, and a third read-through. And pretty much what you do is you start to go through and choose skills that you want your students to meet each time you read through it. So the first read-through, it gives you an option for students to read, everybody to read it together, or just the teacher to read. And you'll notice that the first read-through is just really to find the main idea or to summarize it. Get ready to talk about blank or listen for blank. Tell a partner about the most important parts. The second read-through is where you really start to dig deeper. How does the text work? Notice you're looking for text structure or text features or word choice or new vocabulary. The questions are a little bit more in that gray area. They're not just black and white. There's no one correct answer. And then the third read-through is what does it mean? So now, after reading it 2 times, they should be able to make an inference using background knowledge. They should be able to connect it to themselves or the world or the media. They should have an opinion about it. So this, again, there's no right or wrong answer, but you really want the kids to be thinking critically about what they read. Now, after you've read through it 1, 2, 3 times, then you can have them start answering questions, multiple choice questions. You can maybe have them debate about what they've read because they're very, very familiar with the text at this point. They've read it enough times. So close reading is really good when you want your kids to be able to dig deeper into the text and then ultimately use that text when they go to write, because the more familiar they are with the text, the better they will be able to write about it.